Some talk about ships, as if they actually live, saying she sails instead of it sails. And car enthusiasts, in their own way, allude to that, describing car engines like kittens, saying she purrs like one. And in the same breath, a country becomes she, and the historian says she was at war. And what's more is it's fine, because everyone understands what everyone means. But what shall we say this message is like? I'll use a metaphor. You thought you met her before. She was in the school system, set up where you were taught. In your RE lesson, your impression was formed. She's way too out of date to be a relevant source. Just some Israelite laws and some letters from Paul. So this would be a class inevitably ignored or preferably snored through, while cynicism haunts you. She followed you to college, bigger and better resourced, but more of a tradition than a religion enforced. The message had died, risen, and most definitely gone from your frame of reference and the prevalent norm. Blood gushing from the flesh on the cross to pay your debts was forgot. Ironic now to think of all the sins it could blot. So maybe you're a Christian in name, a little ashamed of the stained glass, graveyards and nebulous fog surrounding an institution of confusion that one never could love. You ain't secular, but you ain't repping no God. So maybe you apply next to high ed, university slides of relativism in high res, lectures given by bright men, pointing light pens saying there is no God. We came from a distant swamp and it's just been long enough for us to grow lower limbs and arms, because if you look at Darwinism, it just explains how we exist as random arbiters of evolved morals that grow as part of us, not being imparted from a sovereign, pre-existent God who is perfectly marvelous. And if it's good enough for me, then it's good enough for all of you. Class dismissed. And no one challenged him. No one said, what about the miraculous activist who raised Lazarus, claimed to be God, and backed it up with his self-evident selflessness, made tables and shelves with his hands, 100% God, 100% man. The self-same ones that were impaled when the mallet hit, the nail on the head, redefining sacrilege. God let it slide like the flesh off the back they whipped. To pay for our sins as a ransom in exchange for our redemption, because nothing else could salvage it. I'll use the metaphor, you thought you met her before. But now everyone is saying the world is too messed up for there to be a benevolent God. If I was him, war and suffering I would never endorse. Well, let me tell you for the record, God has never been flawed. Potential for evil comes with our free will. It was never his fault. Free will being necessary for love. The same stuff without which we would all be replicas of. The same robotic nature saying, God, we love you, every time the drawstring in our back was pulled by our creator. Or should I say manufacturer? Anyway, you get the idea, so let's get back to the fact that as soon as Adam's lips smacked on the forbidden fruit, sin entered the very nature of man, like DNA strands that get to spinning and weaving, a bridge that we cross the moment we start sinning to a place that we call hell. Yes, we all fell like b-boys breaking with Adidas shells, but not just hip-hop. Every culture needs to be redeemed or else, even if it's popular, like an S.W.I.S.H 3-door POLO. When yo, life is like a crash test. He who fails is the dummy without an airbag or seat belt. When he says that he don't need your help. Thank God that we don't have to feel what Jesus felt. Thank God that we don't have to feel what Jesus felt.